to review what allows us to do this. But before that, let's talk a bit about the web that we work with today, or how we are dealing with it today. The key player in this in the story is the browser. We tend to treat the browser today as a pretty dumb device or a pretty dumb piece of software. We generate the markup for it, and all we ask from the browser to render that. Not only that, the browser is separated from the middle tier by a half-duplex request-response based protocol. And whenever there's a request that is going in for the middle tier that is mainly responsible for rendering the actual markup, it has a full duplex communication with the back end, but with the browser it only has a half-duplex communication. So I'm not going to go through all the challenges and issues with this. You are all intimately familiar with all these challenges. And the good news is that now there is an open industry standard, has been around for since December 2011, so for 3 years now, that allows us to do things in a different way and in a number of cases a way better way. The WebSocket standard has a dual nature from a standard perspective. The standard defines both the wire protocol that is controlled by IETF, as well as the very first language API was defined by W3C, the JavaScript API. What we need to know about it is that it basically brings the power of TCP to the web. It was designed to allow web applications to be just as capable and just as rich and powerful as TCP network applications. So here you get a single socket connection that gives you full duplex communication. Given that the overhead is way, way lower, because WebSocket is a very efficient and very lean protocol, in some cases it can be 100 times less overhead that you're sending over, especially when you have scenarios of a lot of small messages going back and forth. The overhead can be extremely big when you are doing HTTP. And as you have seen in the demonstrations, the latency characteristics can be very low, and very much like HTTP, WebSocket has a TLS tunneling capability, so the WebSocket protocol has a counterpart, WebSocket Secure WSS. So what does this mean to our architecture? Well, what it means is that in addition to having a full duplex bidirectional channel between our middle tier and our back end, now we can have a full duplex connection between our client and the middle tier as well. Now here the client can be browser client or can be other languages as well, can be native mobile clients, can be desktop applications, Java, C, what have you. In addition to having a bidirectional communication channel between our clients and our middle tier and all the way back to the back end, we also have the power of HTML5. The main point of HTML5 over the web was to empower real applications in the browser without plugins and extensions. And if you take these two concepts together, you can start building applications where the markup rendering does not have to happen over on the middle tier. So very often what happens is that through HTTP, static assets and resources are downloaded into the page. That's basically getting the application into the client. And once you have the application in the client, the dynamic application-specific behavior can happen over a bidirectional communication channel. So if you think of the racer demo, where we had the race car up there, initially we got all the assets, all the WebGL stuff, all the images, JavaScript, CSS, markup, HTML into the page. And after that, there was no more HTTP communication. The browser did not send requests for assets to the server. It was sitting in a very, very much an idle fashion, and it was waiting for the control messages to come in, and that's what controlled the car. So it allows us to build very different kinds of applications. If you actually take a step back, the architecture you see here is much more close, much closer to the traditional client-server architecture than it is to the web that we live in today. Basically, you have a client, you run your application on the client has a full duplex connection all the way to the back end.